Now, the G7 has agreed to use frozen Russian assets to raise $50 billion for Ukraine. The leaders are describing this as a game-changing. How perhaps will it impact the ongoing war, keeping in mind that the money is not expected to arrive until the end of the year?
It's just curious to me how many times in the 2.5 years nearly of this war, I keep hearing something's going to be a game changer, and nothing has been a game changer. And this isn't either. I mean, just the least of which, because as you pointed out, this probably is not even going to start coming in toward the end of the year. And plus, it's going down a slippery slope. When you start confiscating, whether it's the direct funds or whether it's interest off the funds, you're still seizing the assets of another country and using them for something else. And look, Ukraine is in a war against Russia. But the West is not in a war against Russia. And to take the assets of a country that we're not at war in, I think sets a bad precedent. And I'm not sure that it's going to work out good either in this case. And it's probably going to undermine the belief and the trust in the West, in this rules-based order we keep talking about. This doesn't seem to be following that. And I think it's going to come back to haunt us.
President Biden has said that signing this bilateral agreement is a reminder for Putin that he cannot divide us. That's what he said. Now, considering that, Putin has been replying to every comment from the West, how do you think Putin will reply to this?
Just on the first of it, that's not accurate. I mean, we are being divided. I mean, you see that Hungary made a special point of saying they want out of what the NATO forces are doing in regards to Russia. You have Turkey, you have Slovakia, definitely not on board with what's going on. So there are some fissures already showing up. You see these votes that have happened, especially in Germany and France, with voters moving away from supporting this war. So that's what needs to be taken care of more than anything else. And just saying the words that he can't divide us, that he can't wait us out, when evidence is existing that maybe he can and maybe we are, that's what needs to be taken a look at.
How do you see or envisage the G7 summit shaping responses to all these global issues, especially when most of the leaders who are attending the G7 summit, they themselves are facing political tensions back home?
The war in Ukraine and between Russia and how those governments are handling it is a big issue, but it's not the only issue. There's a lot of issues that are part that the ruling parties in almost all these countries, and that's including the United States, because right now President Biden's not, depending on which poll you look at, is not hardly secure. And the leaders of these countries are going to have to start paying a lot more attention to their domestic audiences instead of taking them in directions that they'd appear to not want to go in if they want to stay in charge. And so I think in that regard, probably a little humility would be in order for some of these leaders of the G7 to pay more attention to their people and less trying to tell the people where they're going to go.